hotel, those maps were just way too damn big. And what happened to the map voting, bro? Why was the map voting once again vacant in this beta? Why can't we vote on maps? I don't understand it. Who keeps saying, oh no, we don't want to vote on maps, take it out of the game? I mean, dude, map voting, oh yeah, and don't forget, the lobby's disbanding. Lobby's disbanding is back. No map voting. I mean, dude, it's the same problems. The same problems people are having in Modern Warfare 2022 is the same problems dudes had in Modern Warfare 2019. Infinity Ward had 4 years to listen to feedback, and they're still hitting us with the same bullshit. What makes you guys think 1 month of feedback is going to matter? So, Modern Warfare 2022 is going to be just like Modern Warfare 2019, fellas. So if you liked Modern Warfare 2019, you'll like Modern Warfare 2022. If you hated it, you're not going to like this game. Infinity Ward don't care about feedback. The same problems we had 4 years ago, the same problems we got now. Adapt! Adapt, people! Because Infinity Ward don't care. Anyway, I think Modern Warfare 2022 is going to be a hell of a lot of fun once I get my cheese. You're going to be seeing a lot more scoreboards like this, fellas, over the next couple years. Trust me.
Okay, this is going to sound a little nuts, but the fastest and easiest way to make passive is to never self-use product. I never have. And I'm from my business partner Roy never have. And he's done even better. Amazon
How's that for cutting costs?
Without him ever buying the and our 7% cities never have either. You see, on this new platform, everything is 100% the products we sell is the ones you see on your laptop. So you can also get started with very little money, and most everything's done for you, so you don't even need any extra. You can sit back and watch so you can cover your bills month after month. Hi, I'm Carol Marie, and Amazon's the biggest online company there is, so you don't need to find new customers. Amazon found them for you. Over 190 million. This makes it
Taking out the whole
$30
town.
billion market that you can tap into just like this. She's a hardworking single mom who is struggling to get by on food stamps. So she shops everyone's
Get
favorite
back on your
7
slab.
And Dave's not alone. Roy and I have
Don't
launched
fuck with
all
the
of
original.
past the $1 million mark. And
Brody, what is up? It's Thunder. Welcome back. Well, fellas, the beta is in the books. Well, we all know it's not really a beta, right? The demo for Modern Warfare 2022 is in the books. And you guys all saw my last video. I wasn't really feeling it. Impossible to really enjoy or judge this game in the state it was in, with the way the lobbies were, and not being able to unlock attachments for my gun. I mean, I played the beta, but I feel like I didn't play it, because what I played in the beta, what in the world just happened? My man, why is every death some nerd bunny hopping? Tragic nightmare. Hey, look at all the bunny hops. I mean, this entire beta was a tragic nightmare for me, fellas. I couldn't unlock no attachments for the 74U, couldn't unlock no attachments for my shotgun cheese. I mean, why put weapons in the game that you can't have attachments for, man? Why only give attachments to the people who pre-order? Oh, wait a minute, that's called smart business. All right. Sorry, there's no way I was pre-ordering Modern Warfare. I will never pre-order Call of Duty again unless they do some drastic changes. And speaking of drastic changes, guys, Infinity Ward has addressed some of the beta feedback. Infinity Ward addresses Modern Warfare 2 changes arriving at launch. Footstep audio, visibility, and more. I mean, really, dude? This is hilarious to me and sad and pathetic at the same time. You guys been making COD games for, what, 20 years now? How is footstep audio and player visibility still a thing? I mean, you figured they'd have it down pat by now. You figure after all the years of these guys making Call of Duty games, they would have a universal preset for footsteps in a multiplayer. Here it is. It's perfect. It's not too loud. It's not too quiet. These are the footstep audio. This is a footstep audio preset. Some COD games had perfect footsteps. I think Black Ops 3 probably had the best bass footstep audio. I don't know. Drop down the comment section, fellas. What COD game had the perfect what COD game got footsteps right? I thought Black Ops 3 was great. Player visibility. How is this even a thing? Aren't graphics supposed to get better as the years go on? Shouldn't being able to see players get easier as the years go on? Player visibility is a thing and more. We all know what the more is, fellas. Skill-based matchmaking, disbanded lobbies. We're going to get to that. So with the Modern Warfare 2 beta now behind us, the devs will look to make changes to the game ahead of launch. Yeah, the game launches in 1 month. And considering it took these fools, what, 6 months? In Modern Warfare 2019, it took them 6 months to put a weapon inspect in the game, a feature that everybody liked, that they got rid of for some bizarre reason. Yo, I don't understand this, man. Whenever Infinity Ward or any Call of Duty developer innovates in a way that we all enjoy or we like, we never see it again. But when they innovate something that's unnecessary or something that we hate, it becomes a staple of the series, like disbanding lobbies and no red dots on the mini-map, stuff that doesn't add anything to the game, stuff that nobody asked for, but it becomes a staple. But whenever they do something cool, like pro perks, or you guys remember Advanced Warfare? You can customize your kill streaks. I mean, dude, customizable kill streaks was the coolest thing ever, bro. Look at this. I hated Advanced Warfare, but this was dope. I mean, look at this. This was a remote turret. Look at this, man. For an extra 100 score, you can slap some rockets on there or some direct energy. Replaces a minigun or rocket turret for a laser beam. You can have a laser turret. You can have it rippable. You can run around with the head of the remote sentry. I mean, I never really played Advanced Warfare too much, just because it was too crazy for me. But this was cool. I can't hate. And you could even say, you know what, the hell with kill streaks. I'm going to take all them perks. I'm going to take all them points for streaks and use them on perks. So you could kind of have like a poor man specialist. Yo, imagine if they put this kill streak system, right, where you could customize your kill streaks, or you could take the points and throw it towards perks. Imagine if they took the Advanced Warfare 13-point system with the customizable kill streaks and the COD Ghost perks and merged those two into one game. Oh my goodness, man. That would be the best COD ever. But we've never seen the COD Ghost perk system again, and we've never seen, well, I guess there was a customizable kill streak in Infinite Warfare, but again, that's another COD game that I quit in the beta. I quit that game in the beta. But man, this is just hilarious to me, fellas. So, following the conclusion of Modern Warfare 2 beta, Infinity Ward will have approximately 1 month to produce the final product. That's the funniest thing ever. We played the final product, believe me. Given the player feedback and data accumulated from the beta, Infinity Ward will focus on getting Modern Warfare 2 ready for launch. Again, took these guys 6 months to put weapon inspect in a game. Okay, I don't know what you guys think they're gonna do in 1 month for Modern Warfare 2022, but best of luck, man. I really do. So footstep audio balance with dead silence is a field upgrade. And the Ninja perk in Modern Warfare 2, one of the biggest player complaints from the beta was loud footstep audio. Infinity Ward acknowledged it and then made changes for weekend 2 of the beta. I didn't really play the beta in weekend 2, so I didn't even notice it. Now the devs confirmed there are more changes on the way.
Look at this fucking guy, Tragic Nightmare.
This Tragic Nightmare, dude, what a nerd this guy was. Get bodied, homie. Of course, he'd be the guy to try and parkour up that window. I didn't even know you could do that. The dudes are parkouring and bunny hopping all over the place in my lobbies, broskies. It's awful, man. So the devs confirmed that more changes are on the way prior to launch as they continue to balance Modern Warfare 2's footstep audio. It's like every day is their first day, man. Every day is their first day in the studio. Modern Warfare player visibility, another thing. How is visibility an issue? Following footstep audio, visibility was another major concern for players as they found it difficult to spot enemies as well as different foes from friendlies without name tags. Yeah, man, it's super hard to see people in this game, dude. It's super frustrating. That's why, man, I'm going right to free-for-all. I ain't gonna deal with no annoying-ass teammates to carry. I don't gotta worry about who's on my team, who's not on my team. I'm going straight to free-for-all, bro. So none of this stuff will really matter to me once the actual game drops. But for all the rest of you guys who are playing, especially you hardcore players, I feel for you. I don't know how you're gonna play hardcore. I mean, you can't tell who's on your team and who isn't. Nope. The devs made changes to improve visibility when the players fired. That's another thing. When you fire your gun in this game, the muzzle flash is so big, you can't even see who you're shooting at. And it's likely they'll continue to tweak the visual issue ahead of launch. However, they did confirm that they'd be looking for a solution that's not solely the traditional nameplate appearing over other players' heads. Listen, just do what Black Ops 4 did. Put friendlies in blue and put the enemies in red. How hard is that to do? Have like some glowing visuals on them. The friendlies are wearing blue or green, and the enemies are wearing, you know, whatever. What? Yo, I was bugging out in this beta, man. I don't know how I lost that. I lost that gunfight. Yeah, that's pretty crazy how the Xbox or PS4 or PS5, excuse me, picks up your voice. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know I was picking up my own voice while I was playing this. But man, footstep audio, and player visibility, and then they talk about disbanding lobbies, the final thing they're talking about addressing here, which they need to address much more than this. But these are three major issues here. Modern Warfare 2, disbanding lobby solution. SBMM and disbanding lobbies was another major talking point among the players who tested Modern Warfare 2 beta. Players are crying out for traditional Call of Duty lobbies to stick together after each match, as opposed to disbanding. Yes, that's what we want. But according to Infinity Ward, skill-based matchmaking won't work if we can't disband the lobbies. The hell with skill-based matchmaking, bro? Seriously.
Before we used Code Signal, our coding assessment was manually graded, and this cost us hundreds of hours of engineering work every year. With Code Signal, we're able to pass all candidates onto an assessment process and give them all an equal chance to prove themselves technically.
You guys, I just saved $45 on my grocery bill this week, and we did it with Thrive Market. It's an online, membership-based grocery store. They offer organic things, non-GMO, paleo, gluten-free, everything you may be looking for, they sell. Plus, it's so convenient, you guys. It's really nice to just have it show right up to your door. We love that it's easy to find things on the app or online. With the savings you're getting each time you order, the membership basically pays for itself. We love Thrive Market in our household. I know you guys will love it too.
Hey, look.
Hells yeah.
Get this sweaty ass beta, man. 75, 70. I can't stand Team Deathmatch, fellas. I'll never play Team Deathmatch once this game drops. I'll go straight to free for all. The lobby balancing, not being able to see people. Nah, give me my free for all lobbies, please. Well, I don't know why they didn't put free for all in the beta, to be honest, man. Free for all is such a chill, fun game mode. I don't know how you solo players play team game modes in this. With the way the team balancing is and not being able to tell who's on your team and who isn't. I mean, free-for-all should be a much more poppin' game mode. I don't know why it isn't. Like, there should be a lot of people in free-for-all, especially if you're a solo player. But anyway, guys, Infinity Ward, man. I mean, is every day your first day in the office? After all these years, you still can't figure out a footstep audio? You still can't figure out player visibility? Disbanding lobbies that everybody hates in the world? Like, my God, there's nobody that likes disbanding lobbies. I mean, if I don't like a lobby, I'll just leave. It ain't hard to rage quit in COD. We all do it. People leave lobbies all the time. You don't need to disband the lobbies. Oh my God, but anyway, fellas, so yeah, like I said, man, there's way more issues than that, but those are the issues that Infinity Ward is actually working on. And we got this game for 2 years. Like I said, year one of Modern Warfare 2022, I'm expecting it to be an absolute cluster. But year two of Modern Warfare 2022, you already know it'll be good because they'll have the whole year to beta test and patch the game. I'm telling you guys. Plus, in year two, we're getting all the Modern Warfare. The real Modern Warfare 2, 2009, we're getting all those remade maps to keep the game fresh, keep it alive till Treyarch swoops in, and hopefully makes a good game this time around. One that is not boring as hell. Cold Snore, oh my God, Treyarch. Whoa, I mean, I already know. Pandemic COD, you took over for Sledgehammer. I know. I'm gonna give you a pass. You better wow us in 2024, Treyarch, please. I wouldn't even hate if you brought back the jetpacks. Make it just like Black Ops 3. If they came out with another COD like Black Ops 3, I would be very pleased. But anyway, fellas, like I said, I don't know if Call of Duty will ever be fun again, but it will definitely be better in year two. So year one is going to be rough. They're going to be tweaking stuff and adjustments and patches, and you already know how COD is, man. The whole first year is an absolute crap show. Year two of Call of Duty is always better for every COD game. Every COD game they've ever made, the second year the game always got better after they're done patching it, fixing it, tweaking it. But it's like every day is the first day, man. I mean, how do you not have footsteps down? How do you not have player visibility? I mean, how is player visibility even an issue? I mean, do you want us to be totally confused out there? I can tell by the map making you do. Maybe that's all part of the plan. They don't want us to know. Is that my teammate? Is that the other guy? They don't want us to know. They want the lobbies to be as chaotic as possible so everybody runs around and goes 18 and 18 every game. That's according to their statistics. So running around, sweating to death for 10 minutes to go 18 and 18 is good for player retention. It's good for fun. Hey, it's a crazy world we live in, man. Maybe they're right. I mean, if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't even play this game anymore. Straight up. It's just not fun. I don't know how you guys do it, to be honest, but I'm glad you do, or else none of y'all would be here. Anyway, all right, fellas, that's all I got. Thank you all so much for watching. Let's hope Infinity Ward can pull out some kind of miracle in 1 month, even though I doubt it. But like I said, if you can make it through year 1, year 2 of this game will actually be pretty decent. All right, fellas, that's all I got. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. I'm out. Peace!
On every vacation at a Verbal home, there's someone like you who reunited the family to make up for lost time.
Need food and alcohol certification for your next job? 360 Training is the most trusted online partner for those working in hospitality and the service industry. As a leading online provider of training for alcohol seller server, food handler, and food manager roles, 360 Training is your convenient source for fast certification. Avoid crowded classrooms, complete your self-paced training online, and receive your certification instantly. Get your job-required training today at 360training.com.
Hello. Wait, what is this? Oh, 8 Dots.
Alright, so after
Haven't seen this video.
And all this excitement for Doug Face Sensor here, he finally has a video that has been ho-humming about on Twitter whether you should upload it, don't upload it, Ninja saying don't upload unless you know for sure, and here it is. Face Sensor actually decided to upload the video, The Truth About Nadia. I haven't watched this at all. I'm excited to see this, see how much he actually exposes Nadia for being a cheater and a hacker. And let's watch it together and let's see if he's an alpha male or a beta. See what happens. Alright, let's roll. Put it in theater mode, put that in 1440p. It doesn't have 1440p. What a scrub. Alright, I got 1440p. Let's watch The Truth.
What's going on, guys? Doug Sensor Martin here. Hope you guys are having a great day. And today I bring you guys a brand new video giving you all the truth about Nadia. So if you guys don't know who Nadia is, she's a 22-year-old Warzone player. She streams every single day on Twitch TV. She's specifically...
She? Are we assuming her gender is a female? She? I don't know, Doug. You check the pronouns in the Twitter bio, brother, before you go around assuming genders. Just gonna say, it's a lot of patriarchy mansplaining going on there, buddy.
Plays Rebirth Island, and she's been streaming for a little bit over a year from what I understand, maybe a year and a half or so. And she just recently, over this past few months, has really escalated as one of the biggest, if not the biggest, female gaming Warzone streamer on the platform. I remember being back in Los Angeles with my boy T-Dog at the Call of Duty World Championship, and we woke up one morning like 9:30 a.m. This is about 1 month ago, and he goes, "Hey, you see this girl Nadia? A lot of people think she's cheating." I'm like, "Oh, let me tune in and check her out, I guess," right? So I go on my phone, go to Nadia, and I'm watching her game for like...
I forgot to say something there. Shout out to Bad Boy Beeman and Call of Shame, and of course Not 8 Thoughts, the greatest LBLG Call of Duty Elite game and stuff up is in the world. A lot of people have been on that ass. I'd have to say that the BBB and the Call of Shame have definitely shed light on this, you know, put respect on that name.
But then the entire internet started losing their minds over Nadia cheating.
Sorry, but just in case you're walking in blind here, walking in soft, let me harden you up. What is going on here? The LAN event at Modern Warfare 2 COD Next. That, oh my god, that was the magnum opus. When she played, you've probably seen millions of videos, thousands and thousands of millions of views on YouTube of her playing at the LAN event. And she played like she's never played COD before. And she's like, I'm the one best Warzone streamer in the world. And then she goes and plays when she can't use her cheats on the LAN at the Activision event, and she played horribly. So this is really what really has driven to the peak that we're at now.
Seen a lot in competitive Call of Duty. Being a part of the competitive Call of Duty community my entire life and actively competing and looking for a starting spot in the league and being on Boston's academy team, I see it a lot in challengers. There's a lot of players who always get accused every single day that we play. And not to mention, now that we're in the off season and we're going into a new season next month, and I'm playing Call of Duty Vanguard ranked every single day, I'm seeing a cheater. But then my buddy came up with a software and he showed me how it worked, where he injected cheats into an account and then he searched his name up on the software and it showed up. But prior to injecting the cheats, he would search the name and no name would show up at all. So what we decided to do was bring this.
Alright, so your buddy has a program where he can search cheats. If you've had cheats on your computer or in the game, or if you've, alright, so far I'm with it, alright.
Program onto the flank to show people how this program worked, and then the next day the cheating company issued a patch so that he couldn't get into the database anymore, so we jumped the gun a little bit, but he's confident that not only he can get back in and crack everything, but he wants to send his source code privately to CMG and Activision as well. Now I connected into CMG. I don't know what they're doing now, but Activision has not replied to me. Activision, if you're watching this right now, please reply, because I'd love to send this to you. Really, this all started as me just wanting to do the right thing and just find cheaters and catch them, and then all of a sudden everyone just wanted me to make this about Nadia, and everyone was trying to get me to expose Nadia and call her out for cheating and make sure that I can cancel Nadia because she's a cheat.
Actually, Doug, no, you tweeted about it. Just gonna say, you're trying to back yourself out here a little bit. Don't be a beta. Make sure you stay alpha. Don't be a beta. Because, brother, you were on.
This one's the perfect gift for the friend who's been getting a little too comfortable during quarantine. Maybe your son, a father, or your boyfriend. In which case, it's really a gift for yourself, ladies and gents. Manscaped and their new performance package. This all-in-one kit that helps you maintain every bush or forest located below your head.
We're on Twitter going off about, like, oh yeah, you know, Nadia cheating, all that whatnot, and you kind of got a little hot. She was in the DMs for the wrong reasons, you know what I'm saying? She ain't got that looks like some Mexican weather girls, you know what I'm saying? She's kind of mid, so, you know, keep it alpha, don't be a beta, all right?
Now, I have to admit, I've sat down at night when I'm about to go to bed, and I pull open my YouTube, and the first thing I'm seeing in my recommended is, Nadia cheating, this is why in 4K, and I'll be like, really? This girl really got people hooked. So I'm clicking the video and I'm watching it, and they're slowing everything down in slow motion. They're showing our aim drags from one person to another. They're showing a bunch of these different clips of these characters moving like magnets, and their aim snaps on them. And just being a guy who's been around competitive Call of Duty for as long as I have, and seeing as many things as I've seen, this is no news to me. I've seen stuff like this so many times before, and my brain just started to think, and I'm like,
okay. Where the hell is the proof that she's cheating?
Let me look a little bit more into Nadia.
Can you please get to it? Is there anything down here where you actually show proof?
I thought acting was my passion, but now it's really gaming. I do love acting, but gaming is where I'm at right now.
So when she said this live, I was actually in my hot tub watching, because I'm friends with Jake and I like him, and he was talking about Nadia. I'm like, alright, like, I've never seen this girl outside of her setup in her room where everyone's thinking that she's really sus with her cheats, so let me watch this interview, let me see who this girl is and what she's all about. And when I saw that and I heard that, everything really started to click to me.
I'm gonna tell you guys how I get bot lobbies. It's simple. I just hack into the Call of Duty servers, so there's a playlist that gets me only low KD lobbies. Here, let me show you. Oh wait, it says Rebirth QA bot. Maybe it says bot, maybe it's just bot lobbies. Let's go! We got a playlist, let's go!
Turn me up!
Happen. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Rebirth QA bot. Turn me up, chat. Turn me up. Turn me up. Oh my god, turn me up.
Look, as a fellow Sharknado actor who has won multiple Oscars for all the Sharknado performances I've given over the years.
I did not know Face Sensor was in Sharknado. Time out. Face Sensor was in Sharknado? That is definitely alpha. That is not beta. That is alpha. That is awesome.
For nothing. This whole turn me up. Turn me up.
Turn me up.
I don't care. Can we leave this in 2022? Just somebody come up with something new and creative. Anything. But the whole turn me up. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to watch this on 2 times, guys, because, you know what I'm saying? I'm the 2-time back to back. All right, let's get this going.
You can go down a rabbit hole just searching this girl's name, but there's one thing that really stands out.
I picked Black Ops 1. Black Ops 2.
Yeah, you don't need to hug me. I get it.
Yeah, what is dolphin diving? How do I do it?
Okay, so Nadia, check this out.
Yeah, I got that. I played Black Ops 1, I played Black Ops 2. And she doesn't know what dolphin diving is. That's pretty funny. So, you know what I'm saying? It's all, you know, when you put the pieces together, right? If you... Smells like shit. Shooter McGavin tastes like shit. More likely it's shit. Just gonna say. And if she doesn't know how to pass CODs and why do they play, and then you see her at the LAN event, she's like, you know, Michael J. Fox off his Parkinson's med. Ooh, it doesn't look good.
I know you work out, you're in good shape. This is how you do the dolphin dive. All jokes aside, this video is about showing the truth of Nadia, and somehow the internet over the last few days has really turned this and contorted this into exposing Nadia for her cheats and having clear-cut evidence of her cheats. So I do want to clarify this really quickly. My buddy made a program to catch Vanguard cheaters on the rank play system. I made that very clear. I've also told Nadia publicly multiple times that I don't care about her. My video's going to be unbiased. I don't need her. I'm not looking for clout. I'm not looking for money. Don't need any of that stuff. But there is one thing that I do need, and the more that I researched into Nadia, it all just became clear.
Are you kidding me? What? Wait, hold on. All this, I don't like hype, I don't like nothing. You get all these people hype the views and all this stuff, and you don't expose one cheater. Not one cheater, nobody, nothing, and then you ask her to marry you. What an asshole, are you kidding me? What the? Wow. Dude, that is so lame. That is so lame, dude. Oh, you're a shit. Oh my god, dude. Come on, bro. Are you kidding me, guys? That was, okay, well, Face Censored is beta for sure with that, man. Get out of here with that shit. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. I still think it my amazing alpha male elite game is dumb of an opinion. Not his cheat. It's, I mean, come on, right? Alright, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching. Save that question authority 100 correct on the shift of business how you can tell my jobs reduction there's no plan when fake on things or Swarovski white man bring you down. Beta!
BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers phone, video, and live chat sessions with your therapist. So you don't have to be on camera if you don't want. There's a broad range of expertise in BetterHelp's 20,000 plus therapists that can provide you with help that you might not be able to get in your area. You just fill out a questionnaire to help assess your specific needs, and you will get matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Then you are ready to schedule a phone
Teleportation was successful. Team has reached the Omega Complex. Hoorah! The final battle. Today, the downfall of Omega begins. Get inside. I will provide overwatch.
Zykov cannot fall into Omega custody. Get him to evac. He's our only chance to stop the Forsaken.
What's going on, everybody? This is DJ Dynamite, and today we're going to be talking about raids, a new experience coming to Modern Warfare 2 this fall. Definitely stay tuned. But before we get to that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, because we are very close to 100,000 beautiful subscribers here on the main channel. Really appreciate it. Also drop a like and turn notifications on to stay up to date with everything going on in Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, Warzone Mobile, and any other future Call of Duty as well. Now, ironically, I was going to drop a DMZ video before a video about raids, but then new information has dropped about the new raids experience. So I'm like, you know what? let's post those videos in reverse. I should be posting my DMZ video that I had scheduled at some point later tonight. Definitely stay tuned for that. I also have a short coming out later today here on the main channel, which you can also find over on my TikTok. Any support over there is also appreciated. So over at the CODNEX event, during the panel where developers sat down and talked about the upcoming new modes in Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2, they all of a sudden dropped a bombshell on us, no pun intended, that something called Raids is coming to Modern Warfare 2 later this fall. It was a complete surprise, and the official description they dropped in the blog post for it does say, and I quote, "Confirmed for Modern Warfare 2 players later this year after launch, Raids are a whole new experience for the franchise through..." So that's a lot. Is its own mode of something fresh. Now, considering they also put information about raids under a Spec Ops tweet where they say there's more ways to play, they mentioned that the Experience raid is its own mode available after launch. So that's likely going to be dropping with Season 1, but Season 1's already jam-packed, right? Season 1 starts November 16th, the same day that Warzone 2 and DMZ also do. So that's a lot. I wouldn't mind if raids get saved for like Season 1 Reloaded or maybe after the holidays. That would not bother me, but it also confirms that Raid itself is its own mode, not a live event of sorts or just an update that's within Spec Ops or DMZ. The speculation that I was bringing forward to you guys during the CODNEX event was that maybe every season you hop into the DMZ map or a Spec Ops experience, and then there'll be a raid offered to you in that map that you can just find on your own, kind of similar to the way the main quests were added to Outbreak during Cold War's life cycle. But if you're wondering what maps we get to play this raid experience on, I think it is worth noting that since it's confirmed Spec Ops is 2-player and this raid mode is 3-player, DMZ is the only mode that's going to be 4-player, which I guess makes sense. I like how they're kind of splitting things up a little bit to where you have to have a certain squad for certain modes. That's cool. And like I said in my Spec Ops video the other day, I would much rather have a 2-piece Spec Ops that's really replayable, it's enjoyable with some action-packed missions, just to ensure that they put in other resources into things like raids and DMZ, the new modes. So I'm willing to sacrifice that 4-player Spec Ops experience if it means that these new modes get more attention throughout the game's life cycle. And if there are any mode that I could see getting cut off a little bit after maybe Season 1 or 2, or a mode that just stops getting new maps or updates, I would prefer Spec Ops be that mode. I think DMZ and raids have so much potential for this game, and I'd rather those modes get supported for a year, if not longer. Now, that's not all we know about the new raid experience coming to Modern Warfare 2. We have Tom Henderson who dropped an article over at InsiderGaming.com, which I'll have linked down below. He just dropped this article as I'm recording this video. He said, and I quote, "It's understood that the first raid coming to Modern Warfare 2 will have at least 2 puzzles involved, one focused on numbers and the other focused on a water maze. AI will play an important role in Modern Warfare 2 raids," one source said, but as with almost every mode in Modern Warfare 2, that statement isn't somewhat surprising. A separate source claims that the first raid level will be focused in a submarine base. The source outlined that the team of 3 had to infiltrate a submarine in order to complete their mission. During the mission, the team had to infiltrate the base and go underwater and share an oxygen tank to keep breathing. It's understood that similar scenarios will take place during other raids too, where teams will have to continuously coordinate on such tasks in order to survive. It's like Destiny, but more tactical, another source replied when asked about the mode. Insider Gaming's anonymous data miner has also uncovered 3 individual missions in the Modern Warfare 2 files that can indicate that raids are a multi-level event. We have Numbers Puzzle, a Water Maze, and Incursion. Although these names are likely placeholders, the file suggests that there's almost definitely the oxygen sharing tank mission discussed above. In addition, images data mined, which cannot be shared publicly, do indicate that raids could be built from the ground up and on their own individual map. Insider Gaming will continue to update the article as we learn more about Call of Duty raids. And that's the thing, right? If you look back to a report from the Ghost of Hope a good year ago, he was claiming that DMZ was going to have individual maps built for just that mode and would not share the same map as Warzone 2. What if he was somewhat correct about that, but just had some of the logistics behind that report a little wrong? So maybe there are individual maps being made right now that are reusing campaign assets or something else that are being made just for raids that you might see in DMZ eventually too, but they want to make sure that they differentiate all these modes from one another. You'll have ground war and bigger scaled maps for Spec Ops, they'll reuse some of those for other modes as well, and you'll likely see some of those experiences in DMZ alongside Al Mazrah. But what about these other sections like being described in this article, such as that submarine base, which is probably connected to the campaign anyway? We're using a lot of elements from campaign to make this brand new raids experience. Now, if you look at the term raid, I mean, where's that most popular? It's of course in Destiny. So raid is a game mode in Destiny. In case you guys didn't know, it's a 6-player cooperative assassination mission that is of high challenge and does require communication between players to succeed. They involve specific quests for groups of fire teams. No waypoints or explicit objectives are provided. That's the official description for raids in Destiny. So they're practically just another studio's versions of Easter eggs like we have in Call of Duty Zombies. And I know in Cold War they were a bit more casual friendly to where you were guided through some of the steps, but Destiny is like a free-for-all, and it's also kind of like the way Outbreak's main quest worked. I get there were some elements that also guided you through some of the steps, but you did have to find some things on your own in those big spaces. Now, the crazy thing is that Destiny raids are made for 6 people. There's only a handful of raids in Destiny 2 right now. I believe there's about 5 or 6. And it's also ironic that Activision used to publish Destiny before Bungie parted ways with them, so it's no surprise that Activision kind of wants to get in on that level of gameplay yet again. They kind of already do that with Zombies, but considering Zombies is on a hiatus until the next Black Ops game, they still want to...
When I started to suffer hair loss, I did research and checked everything about it. Treatments and products. I was so frustrated until I finally found a real one that worked. This brand is called Portero, and it literally changed my life. After I started to
put out some type of puzzle-solving, community-driven event that are going to be in the form of raids here in MW2. Obviously, there's going to be a race for World's First, and I know Destiny sometimes gives out rewards to people who do get first on a certain raid. I don't know if it's something as simple as a calling card, an emblem, a cosmetic of sorts. Would not be surprised if Call of Duty does the same thing when these get released, but it is confirmed this is a 3-player mode, so if it's a more tactical version of Destiny raids, it probably will be a bit more on the slower side if I had to guess, but maybe not as difficult as what you'd expect in a 6-player raid that you would see in something like Destiny. But here's something worth pointing out. Destiny raids don't have any matchmaking, which means you can't just go in solo and queue up in a random lobby in hopes of beating a raid. I mean, if you pull up subreddits from Destiny, you'll see lots of people asking for matchmaking of sorts in Destiny raids because they don't have any friends or for whatever the reason is, but most people will then reply to them, hopefully in a respectful way, but I have seen some toxic subreddits out there about this. Most people will reply with saying that it would be impossible to even do a raid with a random who doesn't have a mic, who isn't leveled up all the way to have the right loot to go in to do a raid. So I can get why Bungie isn't so interested in doing matchmaking. Maybe one day they'll figure out a way to do that. If there was like a skill-based matchmaking of sorts, no pun intended, to where to put you with people that are probably at your level or people that maybe you could beat the raid with. But I don't think raids in Destiny are designed for players who just casually hop on every so often. They're definitely put together for those out there that are hardcore Destiny fans and people out there that actually stay up to date with the game and keep themselves leveled up with the best loot possible. So looking at how they could translate over into Modern Warfare 2 raids, I don't think this will be something where, let's say, Zombies fans or the occasional MW player can just hop onto every so often and try to complete. I think you're going to have to make sure you know what the best loadouts are. You're going to want to make sure you know what the map environments are like. You're going to want to be involved in the ecosystem of Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2 to get your hands on these raids. And you're probably not going to be able to queue in solo either. It might be limited to going in with 3 people. But looking at how Spec Ops worked in MW19, you could queue up solo, but some of those missions are damn near impossible with some randoms. They get difficult. Now, it does force you to be in a 4-player lobby. You can't start a lobby with 3 people. I mean, somebody could back out midway through your match, sure, but the match cannot begin until 4 players are there. So maybe raids will be like 2019 Spec Ops, where you have to go in with 3 people and people could leave halfway through the match. But it could also be like Destiny, where there's no matchmaking at all. You have to go in a private match with your friends, people that you know, to actually start the game. But I think a lot of people are also wondering what the frequency will be behind these raids in Modern Warfare 2. How often will they drop? How often will we see a new raid added to the game? Well, I'm gonna guess right now, 1 every season, if possible. I mean, I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. It could be possible that we get 1 every other season, or 1 that gets added every mid-season update. If I had to choose how this would work, I would actually say drop a raid every mid-season update, because I think the beginning of each new season is already going to be crazy with new multiplayer maps, modes, weapons, Warzone 2 expansions, who knows what's coming to DMZ or Spec Ops. Raids do sound like something really fascinating that deserve their own time in the spotlight without people being distracted with every other mode that's going to be updated. So I would say saving some of the filler content for the mid-season, but then also dropping that raid in there could really make a mid-season update extremely popular and playable, and will keep the season alive even longer. I think a lot of mid-seasons for Call of Duty updates in the past have added some decent content, but it's typically just whatever's kind of left over, nothing really too crazy. But I think in terms of zombies, we have had some crazy mid-season updates, especially for Cold War. But let's see how they end up handling these raids at some point this fall. But going into zombies real quickly, here's what I'll say. This is quite literally something for hardcore zombies Easter egg fans out there, people out there that might have wanted harder quests in Cold War. This seems like their cup of tea. Or like I said at the beginning of the video, people out there that were a big fan of, let's say, Pawn Takes Pawn, or a bunch of the quests we got in Verdansk, or Rebirth, Caldera, Fortunes, people that like these larger scaled quests on bigger spaces that might be PvPvE. I think Raids as of right now is a PvE experience, so it'll just be us versus bots, which is fine. I think the AI being pushed as much as it has been in terms of the marketing is probably a sign that we're gonna have some really advanced AI to go up against here in this mode. But for those out there that might not be a huge fan of multiplayer or Battle Royale, or people that might not like DMZ, this might be something for you. And if you're a zombies player out there who maybe only cares about zombies content or makes zombies related videos and streams, this could also be your cup of tea at least once a season to go ahead and cover. But it's like I preached for quite some time as well. Modern Warfare 2 is about to offer so many different modes, and Warzone 2 as well, to the point where there's gonna be something for everybody this year. I'd be shocked if somebody out there can't find something that they're really interested in terms of a mode. I mean, multiplayer alone, offering ground war and invasion in third person, there's gotta be something for you if you're not really a fan of the traditional multiplayer experience. And another point about zombies is that I definitely think where we're headed in the next couple of years is Treyarch's Warzone 2 map being added to the Warzone 2 app, because again, it's confirmed Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2 will be separate applications. I can see Treyarch or Raven putting out a Black Ops themed Warzone 2 map inside of that app, and then Treyarch reusing that to make a new version of Outbreak. It's not only free to play, but it's on a very large space that doesn't require you to travel through portals. And then if you would...
Were you recently injured in a car accident? Look at this check for $160,000. If you're looking to get money you're owed for an injury, I want you to imagine you and your family getting that money, because I know a way that you can. Now, before you think I'm crazy, I want to show you how you can get the money that you are owed in the next 30 days. Now,
you adopt some of the elements from raids like this, maybe you could have 3, 4, 5, even 6 player zombies type events in this type of Outbreak map, and then these puzzle solving type of adventures could be applied to the equivalent of an Outbreak main quest. Imagine how that would work in the future of zombies. And I know there are some Destiny raids that take hours. I mean, hell, some zombies Easter eggs take hours to solve. I don't know about hours to complete unless you're going really slow at it, but I can only imagine just the innovation that Raids is bringing to the table for Call of Duty and how Treyarch can then adopt that for their future titles. But the last thing I'll mention is something I brought up briefly in my Spec Ops video a couple of days ago. The idea that another Mastery Camo could be added for an experience like this. I think when the game comes out, we're only going to have one Mastery Camo that you could, of course, grind that by playing different modes. You could, of course, just level up your weapons through NP, through Warzone 2, whatever the case is, but it'll just be one Mastery Camo, such as the Damascus equivalent. Right now, it's rumored to be some type of exclusion zone / Damascus hybrid, which sounds really damn sick. So I think, looking at how MW19 worked, they added Obsidian pretty deep into the life cycle. What if they do something later in MW2's life cycle where there's a separate Mastery Camo that you can either unlock by playing everything again? I don't know what the challenge would be. But what if there was a Mastery Camo that you can only get by booting up that Warzone 2 application, by doing something in the BR, something in DMZ, or something in a raid?
I mean, thinking about rewards that can also be added to raids, I mean, I would hope that there's more than just a reward for people that get the raid done first in the world. I would hope that after doing maybe multiple raids, there's some type of cross progression there where if you do 2, 3, 4, you get a universal camo like we just saw with Warzone. Season 4 began with that Fortune's Keep gold type of camo you can get by doing challenges. The Terminator event brought in a couple of other ones. So imagine the amount of content and unlockables that are possible thanks to a mode like Raid, which might be fairly difficult and could almost be as hard as, let's say, getting 20 Caldera wins. I know that's probably ridiculously RNG based, but imagine if doing a raid is so hard to where the reward for beating it is so damn valuable and it means a lot for the entire community out there. Now, I'm gonna assume because the blog post does say it's coming to Modern Warfare 2 this fall, this raid experience will be a part of the Modern Warfare 2 app, which is behind a paywall, and not the free-to-play Warzone 2 app. So, although the games are very tightly integrated to where they can share maps and assets and experiences, they still are separate. So that probably means you have to pay for Modern Warfare 2 to play the raid mode, although it would make sense if they put raid in the Warzone 2 app so it's free to play. I think I'm okay with this because not only are Destiny raids also not free, I mean that's back when you had to pay for Destiny, but DMZ is already free to play and as a part of Warzone 2, that's huge on its own. So I think I'm willing to say, alright, it's okay if you have to pay for access to the raid mode that's going to be in the Modern Warfare 2 app instead, but let me know how you feel about that down below in the comments. But that is about it. This has been DK Dynamite. Leave your thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on raids? A new experience coming to Modern Warfare 2 later this fall. What do you think it's going to actually be like? Do you think it'll live up to what a Zombies Easter egg is, or will it live up to what a Destiny raid is like? Leave all your thoughts down below. Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.
This is a renewed smartphone sold on back market by expert refurbishers. Please, give me a sec, and you'll rethink refurb it.
It's 2012, it's raining outside, and you've just come home from school and you run to turn on the Xbox 360. You see a party invite straight away from your friend to jump on the new Call of Duty. After hours of playing, no matter winning or losing, you're still having fun. When your friend comes off for dinner, you decide to jump on a game like Skyrim for a couple of hours and just enjoy some fantasy fun. Finding the massive world impressive, but not being aware of why you find it so impressive or even immersive. The childhood naivety of gaming is something that I think all of us wish we could just fall back into. I remember when the Assassin's Creed 3 trailer came out and I was so hyped to play this game. It would have been the first Assassin's Creed game that I was playing that I knew about before it was coming up to release. So I was hyped, and leading up to it, one of the biggest channels on YouTube at the time, Smosh, made a music video talking about it, and it just kind of brought in even more hype for the game. I asked my mum if she could pre-order the game from Argos for me so that the day it came out I could just jump straight into it. Then the day finally came. 20th of October 2012, Assassin's Creed 3 finally came out. It was one of the biggest step-ups in the franchise since the second game. I would wake up an hour earlier before school just so that I could play it before going. I remember walking around the snow in New York area, turning off my console to then walk in the snow as well at school. This was at the time where in the UK it actually snowed during winter, which is something that rarely happens now. All of this childhood nostalgia mixed with naivety of the gaming world all mixed well together to have the most fun possible, even by yourself. With every game coming out being a step up from the prior, you had AC1 to AC2 to Brotherhood. All three games were just a one-up of each other in some level. But they then jumped to 3 where it took what they already knew and worked to make it something even better.
which at the time wasn't viewed that way, but in fact, looking back, was actually a great experience. Each Call of Duty was a step up from the next. Halo 4 became bigger in every single way from Halo 3. GTA 5 was one of the biggest jumps in gaming that we've ever seen and probably won't see until GTA 6. And then we also had many new IPs entering the franchise, and we had so many amazing games coming out within this time period of games like The Last of Us, GTA 5, Red Dead Redemption, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Dishonored, Shadow of Mordor, Borderlands 2, then leading to games at mid of that decade coming out with stuff like The Witcher 3. For me, I would class 2010 to 2015 as the Renaissance era of gaming, letting the art drive the ship, whereas during 2016 to 2021 became the Industrial Revolution, where they were able to just churn out games and make a profit, going higher and higher every single time, testing tons of systems to see which way they could make more money. At the time, we were fine with it, as generally there wasn't a ton of backlash. All of that would end up ending by 2018, where people started to realize truly what was happening. That was due to the success of one primary game. Obviously there was some backlash before it, but Fortnite blew up and everyone was going a bit crazy. A game that sure was made by one of the biggest companies in gaming, but at the time when it came out, the first 4 seasons of this game was extremely unpolished and very basic. But it was doing better than every single COD game that had come out from the 3 years prior. How did a free-to-play game outperform the rest in this entire market? Well, I think one of the first things to consider, obviously, is the low barrier to entry. Just owning a console of some sort allowed you to play it. And the childhood fun coming back once again, for the masses to be able to compete side by side in a gaming world that really we hadn't been in for so long. You could just jump on in your friends or just by yourself and have tons of fun. When I was younger, I remember being able to play for hours on end without any issues. I'd be able to jump on at 4 p.m. right after school and then play every single night until 10 or 11 p.m. I was able to do this because everything was new. I wanted to be better than all of my friends no matter what. I never wanted to be on the same level as them in terms of competitive standpoint. I simply enjoyed everything I played because my friends also played tons of them. It wasn't just online games that was the case either. That was also single-player games. Being able to walk to school, for example, or watch videos on YouTube talking about gaming, and whilst it was in its prime, especially back then when YouTube gaming was blowing up and becoming the main course of everything going on in life, at least for obviously people who are between the ages of like 10 and 15. And now I can maybe play a game for like an hour, then I'm wanting to come off. Why is that? Well, I think the first way of discussing that primary topic is going to be talking about the modern day state of gaming across the board.
One more for my body count.
I feel like gaming has hit a plateau where it's the same as the tech world, where gaming and tech can't really improve massively between each entry. It is slow changes over time, whereas back in the day, every game was a step up in terms of graphics, storytelling, everything, but really, one of those can still be improved no matter what, but they just choose to ignore it. Every new iPhone or Samsung phone are always improved from the last, but by such small margins that really it doesn't warrant having an entirely brand new phone every single year. But why do we end up feeling like every single phone has changed every single year? It's because they decide to change it physically, so it looks like there is a big change. With games, it's the exact same issue. Just replace the iPhone with COD and Samsung with 90% of the AAA titles that are coming out. The reason why this became such a massive issue is that companies didn't want to move the ball forward at all. They only wanted to move an inch if that meant that they made millions from that tiny change. The big issue with the gaming world was when it became such a pathological idea behind money making over the creativity and love for the craft that completely got obliterated once companies realized how much money there is in the gaming sphere. The people who make the decisions at these big companies typically don't play games. And if they do, maybe they play it every now and again, or they play it with their kids or grandkids. People who went to uni for game development, or people who got into voice acting because they loved games, just ended up being destroyed by the machine that is modern day gaming. Companies like Ubisoft and Activision know that they'll make a load of money by putting out a load of subpar games instead of risking it to make even more money because they make an amazing game. Last year was the first ever time Activision decided to take a year off of making Call of Duty games, It was the same for Ubisoft, because back when they released Assassin's Creed Syndicate, it was met with a lot of backlash because there was nothing changing in the franchise. They took a year off and released Origins, a game that to this day I still think is one of the best Assassin's Creed games. Which is overall a good thing. Them taking a year off is proof that they know that something needed to change. Work had to be put in to release good games. But due to the corporatization and the lack of willingness to try new projects, people ended up with the same game that was slightly improved year to year. Now we're at the point where games just can't improve dramatically. When it comes to the graphics or audio, the quality is pretty much as high as it can be. The only way that games can improve now is by having a compelling story and world design that's actually intriguing to run around. I end up finding myself wanting to run around Elden Ring, for example, a game that I suck at, I get destroyed in. I do not do well in Souls-like games. However, there is something about the world design in that game that is phenomenal in comparison to all of the Ubisoft games when it comes to the new generation Assassin's Creed. I don't want to run around Viking England in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, where the world is so dull that you end up putting your horse into auto sprint and looking at TikTok or YouTube for 15 minutes until your horse gets to your destination. But it's not just down to the creative compression that's gone on within the gaming world, but it's also the fact that there's a lack of just excitement for new releases in the gaming world right now. Now, the lack of care for the new releases to me comes down to two main things. One is just growing up, and the second thing, like I've previously discussed, when you were a kid, everything you played was new. Everything was always a brand new experience. When I played GTA 4 when I was younger, I thought that that was the only thing of its kind. But that was the fourth game in the main line of the franchise. When I played Saints Row 2 for the first time, I loved that game, and that's the only Saints Row game that I truly enjoyed. But at that point of time, again, I thought that that was the only thing like it, and that there was no way of improving it. But then after growing up, you start to realize things. For example, the Saints Row franchise all take massive inspiration from GTA. Skyrim was the fifth game in a 2-decade-long franchise, but to me it was the first of its kind. I could keep going with a mixture of childish ignorance about the world itself and the lack of knowledge in the gaming world specifically. But due to the lack of knowledge, it actually made gaming a great experience, and I think this is something that people don't talk about when they're talking about the nostalgia of games. They solely put it down to we just loved the games when we were growing up, but it's because those experiences were new experiences to us. We didn't have a critical eye at that point. A lot of people try to defend the stance that it's not because we grew up, it's just that games became stale and boring. I agree with half of that statement. The half that I agree with is the stale and boring part of the statement. However, I do also think that people who complain about games being bad are a lot of the time the people who also play the same types of games over and over again, such as the FPS types. When the new COD game isn't good, they believe that gaming is ruined. When Halo is boring, they believe again the industry sucks and that everything about it is bad. But instead of them taking some time out of their days to play something really interesting and play an amazing story-rich game that came before many of the COD games, for example, or even games recent like Red Dead 2 where you get an amazing story, they don't want to do that because they view it as a waste of time. Why would they spend so many hours in a game like Red Dead when really they could play COD every hour, every day, and apparently get the same level of fun? Another part of getting older is the realization that gaming truly doesn't matter. Before you start writing in the comment sections about how you're a 25 or 40-year-old man who loves playing games and still talks about it all the time, just remember that you are not the majority of people. Most men and women do not care about games in the first place, let alone started playing them. It's not until really my generation, which is, for example, Gen Z and Millennials, where you have that barrier where so many people played games. I remember so many people in school who played games. This was across the board, no matter who they were. They tried playing games because it was a great hobby to play when you're younger. You could sink so much time into it. With a lot of people holding the belief of gaming being dead comes down to the realization that gaming truly doesn't matter. Adulting starts to kick in and you become aware of a lot more things outside of this bubble that most of us who loved games growing up were sat in for so long. Now, what you should and shouldn't care about is not what I'm talking about here. I believe that gaming is obviously a hobby. It's something that should be put in and categorized as such. For example, a lot of people who say the words gaming is a waste of time also are the same sorts of people who go and spend 2 hours of their life watching a football match every Saturday, then discussing it for hours on end throughout the week, and they basically become walking contradictions. It's depressing, but becoming aware that responsibility strips us of our innate childlike persona that will always be there, but only comes comes out of very specific things, as we've basically been trained most of our lives to put that aside, because obviously we have to start stepping up to becoming an adult. A big part of adulting is that realization of how much games cost. How is The Last of Us Part 1 £70? It's a remake, sure, but come on, that's ridiculous. Overall, it's not just because it's the same game from before, just with updated graphics. That's not my issue with the game. It's the fact that £70 is a ridiculous amount of money to be paying for a game. Sure, people may use the argument of, well, you go out and you spend £70 on stuff. Currently, I don't. I still have no money. Most of my money is gone purely because, guess what? My car costs over £70 to fill up. It's stupid. It's not even like you could turn around and say, well, the cost of everything's going up, so we need to start charging the game more. Because it's not that. Most of these games that come out at £70 already have a ridiculous amount of monetization in them. It makes people not want to play games because there's such a high barrier to entry now that you have to pay £70 to play a game, and even £50 for some games is ridiculous. How is, for example, many of the Nintendo games still at their ridiculously high price tag when they're like 5 years old? It's absurd. As let's say you're earning £1,200 a month, maybe £1,500 a month. The average salary, for example, in the UK, if you're on a living wage, you're going to be getting just around £1,500. That is living wage, that's not minimum, so you'll be taking home less than that if you just go off of minimum wage. It still ends up becoming a massive chunk of your money from all of the money that you end up having left over after all of your bills. I still live with my parents and will do for some time. I know that I will not be able to afford the newest games right away all the time. It's something that I've had to come to accept. When after everything comes out of my account, I'm only left with like £120 to maybe £200 a month. And paying £60 for a game just isn't doable. Everything is going up in price, so I'm not fully surprised, obviously. Like, yes, I said earlier how, for example, it's ridiculous because everything's going in price, you can't use that as an argument. But, again, it's like one of those things where people can use it and people will defend that argument, so I guess, sure. But when you consider that there's so many multiplayer titles out there that make tons of money, that have not needed to increase the price. Let's talk about two of the most popular games in history, Fortnite and Minecraft. Fortnite and Minecraft, for example, are, like I said, two of the most profitable games in history to ever be made. One of them is free and makes tons of money from microtransactions. I'm fine with that being a system that earns money. The game initially is free. You don't need to buy the microtransactions. You're getting value for literally paying nothing. I don't believe all games should be free, so don't worry, don't take it like that. I believe games should be charged for. But when games make tons of money, and Epic has proved this point, Fortnite has made so much money they didn't need the game to be paid for in the first place. The other, for example, was at £16 for the first 5 years of this game coming out. The game currently is £20. It is £20 and it still ends up selling tons every year. But how did a game that is £16 per game that you're buying of Minecraft end up becoming one of the most profitable games in history? So it can be done as long as games are actually good enough, have a great gameplay loop, and there is actually quality changes that are happening. It doesn't need to always be about making your game as profitable as possible. Releasing a new Call of Duty every year at £60 a year, charging a ridiculous amount of money for season passes, and then shoving in tons of microtransactions. The games don't need to be like that. Focus on making a good game first, and then you can justify charging that money. Like I previously discussed, I do believe one of the biggest issues in gaming right now is the creativity being stomped out by monetary gain, as both should work in tandem together. The better your game is, the higher chances it will sell well. Good reviews end up turning into more and more money. It's a blatantly obvious fact that has been shown time and time again, which is a shift I think we might be seeing and I will discuss in a moment, but that is not where we're at right now. But the last 2 points that I want to make when it comes to gaming today is the lack of fun and how the older I get, the more critical I became of games. Now the first part I think is something that a lot of us can agree on no matter what, which is that gaming just isn't as fun anymore to play for long periods of time. I can't play games for more than 2 hours at a time without feeling either drained or as if I've just wasted 2 hours of my life. The only time that doesn't happen is if I had a really great time. Be that with my friends or a game that's been so compelling, when I end up turning it off, I just want to continue playing, which again has been very rare over the last 5 years. When my friends end up playing games for like 4 hours straight, It just feels weird to me now. I used to be able to do it so much, and I just can't now. I've got a bad relationship when it comes to productivity within games, which I've discussed previously, but I will make a video on at some point. But when it comes to it, I just end up feeling annoyed at myself, typically because I feel like I've wasted time. But also, I always end up on edge afterwards, just because of the way I have to be, like, zoned in so heavily with games for me to care about them in any way. Everything about me when I play games just becomes more negative, and this is an issue that's not just with me. The amount of times I have conversations with people who talk about quitting games, and from my own experience of when I quit for like half a year during 2019, I end up thinking back to that time quite often, and I just think about how generally I was a lot happier. Maybe that's because gaming is more of an addiction for me, and I have to try and toe the line between it and not let it spiral. But really, I don't know. I could be addicted to games, and that's the reason why I have a negative issue and try my best not to play them as much. I know that I sink too much time into them when I get into them, and that's why I typically don't let myself play games that much. But then there's the critical side. I became more critical of games over the years, and now I have a channel where the main piece of content that I focus on is big video game essays. But when you get older, you start to realize more and more about the gaming world as a whole than you ever saw beforehand when you were younger. You see the legalities of it, the acquisitions, the way staff get treated, and much more, and it ends up giving you such a negative point of view on many different games that the younger version of your naive self that used to trash on games like Call of Duty Ghosts, for example, because your favorite YouTuber was telling you it's awful, just didn't know about. You are basically ending up falling into the trap of everyone else's belief systems, obviously, because that's just how things work anyway, but in turn, it's something that all of us fall into the trap of nowadays. If a game gets released and it doesn't live up to an expectation that you had, even if they didn't set that expectation, you'll have a critical viewpoint of it. And then obviously you have the latter half of people's viewpoints, which is the idea that you should just be grateful for what you got, which is a stance that I don't agree with either. All of this ends up adding up until the day that you feel as if everything you dislike has a justifiable criticism. And now we just end up playing games in hope that we're going to be able to catch lightning in a bottle twice and relive our childhood, and to be honest, as bad as it is to say, it just won't ever happen. Before I talk about some of the more positive aspects of why I think that gaming isn't dead, or at least we're entering a world where gaming is becoming a little bit better, I also want to talk about some of the outliers over the last 4 years, and I'm also going to compare it against 2010 to 2014. The reason why I did this is because, again, I consider that 5-year gap, 2010 to 2015, as the Renaissance era, and then 2016 to 2021, for example, as the just everything being released for the sake of making tons and tons of money. But during that period, even if you took 2016 to then 2020, you're still going to have the same result that I've come to realize from this list. As really, during 2018 to 2022, it hasn't all been doom and gloom. We know that. I think the best way of talking about a lot of these games is in order of release. I found about 8 games on the lists of games that came out in the last 4 years. They've actually been standout games, which works out to 2 games a year, which isn't bad. But when you look at the years between 2010 and 2014, with games like Red Dead 1, Halo Reach, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Black Ops 1, Arkham City, Skyrim, Deus Ex Human Revolution, Modern Warfare 3, Dishonored, Borderlands 2, Mass Effect 3, Far Cry 3, Halo 4, Black Ops 2, Hitman Absolution, Sleeping Dogs, Last of Us, GTA 5, Bioshock Infinite, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, Pokemon X and Y, Crysis 3, Shadow of Mordor, Destiny 1, Far Cry 4, Titanfall 1, and Dark Souls 2. All of those games came out between that 4-year span, and some of those games are somewhere within the good and amazing category. But again, let's talk about the outliers, as I do believe they do deserve some level of conversation anyway. The list itself is Red Dead 2, God of War, Spider-Man, Star Wars Fallen Order, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us Part 2, It Takes Two, and Elden Ring. The first game on this list I'm going to talk about is Red Dead 2. If you want to see a full video essay talking about this, make sure to go check out the 3-hour-long video that I put out. But anyway, let's continue on this topic. This game to me stood out for 2 main reasons: the quality of the product and the story itself within the game. Now, the game was a massive jump in quality, and we haven't seen this jump since GTA 5 came out. And it's something that only a company like Rockstar can do, in my opinion. The game world feels real, and the story is also amazingly well told. This game's world is something that no other game has been able to pull off, which is a relatively boring time in history non-fantasy world that is appealing to just walk around in due to the random encounters within the game and utilizing the 40-second rule very well. Then you have a game like God of War, which is again another game that's considered one of the best games and beat Red Dead 2 as Game of the Year for 2018, which is a story about father and son bonding together. I haven't fully played the game yet, so I'm not going to talk too much about it, but from general consensus, this game is considered one of the best and most amazing stories told. And the reason why this game performed so well is that they wrote two things very well together. They mixed the gamer's love of skull-crushing enemies with an axe and a story that's related to many levels. It's a game I can't wait to play, and when I do, like